Hello, everybody. My name is Karen Hewitt. I am the Club Growth Director for District 3, that is Arizona's Toastmasters. And we are so excited to bring you this social media series in helping you get the best out of your social media experience as a club, area division, however you need to do it. I am so excited to have Liz Shaw with us today. I'm telling you, I have been watching Liz work with the District 3 Twitter account, and she is a genius, absolute fabulous genius, knows exactly what she is doing. You could not learn from anyone better on Twitter. She has been playing with Twitter, or rather being very professional with Twitter, for over 10 years. So grab your notebooks and grab your pens, take lots of notes. I promise it's going to be good. At the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a Q&A button. You can ask questions. You can throw them in the chat. I am going to mute myself and go off video so that way I can monitor that and let Liz take it away.
All right. I just want to tell you guys, I have been on Twitter, like she said, for about 10 years. My main site is Writing Reader, at Writing Reader, which is a site geared for authors and writers. And I started out with very few followers. I challenged myself to double from 500 or from 5,000 to 10,000 in 1 month. And I actually managed to do that in 32 days. So I didn't make my month goal, but that is how I learned what I know about Twitter, is just challenging myself and figuring it out by myself. So let's just go over the basics of Twitter, and we'll stop frequently for questions. So tonight we're going to talk about Twitter specifically for Toastmasters clubs, but you can apply this if you have a business or you have another reason to use Twitter. And the first thing that we need to talk about is targeting your audience for Twitter. And this is important because Twitter's a very different beast than other social media companies. And it's important to understand how it works differently from the things that you might be more familiar with, like Facebook or Pinterest. So we're going to just very briefly go through the major platforms and how they work, and then I'll tell you how Twitter works as opposed to them. So Facebook is probably the biggest social media platform, and it is all about personal relationships. So when you are doing things on Facebook with your club, you are building personal relationships. LinkedIn is also about relationships, but this is about professional relationships. And so on both of them, you're going to build relationships by telling stories about how your club helps people achieve goals. So telling stories, that's what you do on Facebook and LinkedIn. Instagram, this is all about eye candy. This is where you want to make sure that you have a beautiful picture that's in focus, that's well lit, it shows people having fun. That's what Instagram is about. And Pinterest is the same. It's all about the picture. So Facebook and LinkedIn, you're telling stories with words. Instagram and Pinterest, you're telling stories with pictures. All right, so the story is people having fun and they're doing things. It's not, we tend to take pictures of people standing there statically, maybe holding a trophy or holding a certificate. But what we really want to see on these platforms is people doing things and having fun. All right, so now let's talk about Twitter, because Twitter is completely different. Twitter is just the facts, ma'am. You get 240 characters per tweet. That's it. Not 240 words, 240 characters, which is not very much. And so you've got to really learn how to make things speak without a lot of characters on Twitter. So if you will just remember Sergeant Friday here, and I hope that you're all familiar with Dragnet and Sergeant Friday and his tagline, just the facts, ma'am, you will be on your way to understanding how Twitter works. So the way that you do it is you answer the 5 W's. This is what they teach you in journalism school, that you always want to make sure that people know who, what, where, when, and why. That's what you need to answer on Twitter. And that sounds like a lot to fit into 240 characters, and it is, so I'm going to teach you some tricks. All right, Karen, are there any questions on that first part?
Not so far, Liz.
All right, good. So we're going to go right into setting up your account. And I cannot emphasize enough how important this is, because the way that you set up your account will do a lot of the heavy lifting for you on those 5 W's. So don't skip on the time. Make sure everything is done so that most of the questions are right there in your, are answered right there in your profile. So this is what the profile looks like at the top of the Twitter banner. And I'm just going to scoot aside, and you can see like that is the D3 Twitter profile behind me. And then here's a blown up picture of it. The banner is the big picture at the top. The avatar is the little round picture there that you see the Toastmasters logo. And whenever, it's just like Facebook, whenever you post on Twitter, that avatar will be next to your post. So you want to make it recognizable. The account name here is D3 Toastmasters, and then your handle, that's your name with the @ in front of it. So ours is D3 _ Toastmasters. And then the profile is where you write who you are and why you're on Twitter. So District 3 Toastmasters, where leaders are made, serving Toastmasters throughout the state of Arizona. So who, we're serving Toastmasters. Where, state of Arizona. We don't have a when in here. Why, we're building leaders. What, your District 3 Toastmasters. We actually have 4 of the 5 answered right here in the profile. We've also got a link in the profile, and that's a link that will take you to the District 3 Toastmasters website. And I recommend that you have a link, and you can also use hashtags in your profile, which are very good to use. And we will talk about hashtags later. So we're going to talk about each one of these sections of the profile so that you know exactly how to set it up now. All right, we're going to start with the account name and the handle. That is the who and the what. So we are D3 Toastmasters, District 3 Toastmasters. That tells you the who and the what, because Toastmasters is the what. So always make sure in your club profile that you include Toastmasters in your name and or your handle. I recommend both. You can't say it too much. Your name can be up to 50 characters. So my club, Maverick Toastmasters Club, I can write that all the way out. It's under 50 letters or 50 characters. And then my handle could be @MavTM. My club is not actually on Twitter. Don't get me started on that, but it's not at this point in time, but it's up to 15 characters. So you want to choose this carefully. It is easier for people to tag you with shorter handles, so I recommend them, but D3 Toastmasters works fine too. Next, we'll look at the banner and the avatar. These are the graphic elements. The banner graphic needs to be 1500 by 500 pixels. And you can design these on Canva. That's a free online graphic platform that's really easy to use. You don't have to be a designer for it. And your avatar should be 400 by 400 pixels. So that's going to be a square. And you just need to know that it's going to crop to a circle. The maximum file size for your graphics is 2 megabytes. So each one of those can be 2 megabytes. That's a pretty good size JPEG. So that generally is not going to be a problem for you. And as I said, if you don't have a graphic designer in your club, you can use the Canva online design tools. We highly recommend those. All right, the profile. This is where you're doing all the heavy lifting. But you only get 160 characters for your profile. So things that you should include. City and state where you meet, that answers the where. The date and time of your meeting, that answers the when. The shortened link to your meetup or club website, that answers the why you're there. You want to make sure all of those things are in your profile. All right, any questions on that? I feel like I ran through that pretty quickly. So are there any questions, Karen?
No questions so far. I did put the link to Canva in the chat.
Awesome.
And I also put the link to a URL shortener that'll make it a little easier for people to shorten their links. I know I prefer to use Bitly. I don't know what your preference is, Liz.
Well, I use the one that's built into Hootsuite, which is Owly, I think. All right, so how do you get started? You've made your profile now, so you have your presence. And so how do you get started? So a tweet, I said 240, it's 280, bad Liz. Can only be 280 characters. That includes your spaces and your punctuations. If you hit the enter key, that is a character as well. So those invisible characters count. In the old days, in the bad old days, graphics actually counted against your character count, which was terrible because you never knew how much they were going to count against your limit. But now they don't. Twitter just changed that about a year ago. And so you can use graphics strategically to convey additional information. So what you cannot put in your 280 characters, you should build into a graphic. So let's say that you're having an open house, you'll never get all your open house information into 280 characters. But if you make yourself a graphic that's got all the information that you need, then that takes care of the problem. But I recommend that you put the clickable link to your meetup or your website in the actual tweet so that it's clickable and people can use that to get to your place to sign up. All right, so this is what it looks like when you go to tweet. You have the box where the text goes. You're able to limit who can reply. This is within the last month that they added this. I cannot think of why a club would want to do this, but it's there. And then you have these buttons down here at the bottom, which are little options, the picture, I'm going to I say GIF, but some people say GIF. I don't want to start any controversies tonight. You can say it either way. I don't care. Setting up a poll. You can add emojis, and Twitter has recently added the ability to schedule tweets right here from the Twitter interface, which can be very handy for clubs that are not doing a lot of posting. So this is what the tweet window looks like when you open it up and get ready to tweet. And then I recommend that the very first tweet that you post would be something that invites people to your meetings or tells them about a special event that you have. And you're going to want to pin that. And I'm going to tell you about pinning things in a bit. So on the left of the screen, I have a special event that we had through District 3 where Steve Feld did a leadership success series on why some people are successful. And I had that pinned. You can see at the top, it says pinned tweet. A pinned tweet will always show up at the top of your feed. So if somebody goes to your profile, somebody opens up your club's profile page, they'll see your profile at the top, and then right underneath that, they'll see the pinned tweet. And so no matter how many times you tweet after that, this tweet will always be at the top. So an invitation to your meeting is usually the best thing to have there. All right, so how do you pin the tweet? So at the top of the page, at the top of your tweet, there's a little down arrow right here. And when you click it, you have these options and you want to check pin to profile. And that will pin the tweet. All right. So now, what are you going to tweet and how often are you going to tweet? I recommend tweeting a minimum of once a day so that people have a reason to come back and check to see what's going on at your club. And now that Twitter has that free scheduling thing, your VPPR could go in once a week and line up tweets for every day of the week and be done with it. I recommend that you tweet about your club at least 3 times a week. So maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, however you want to do it. It could be upcoming events. It could be featuring the speakers from your last meeting and the topics that they talked about. Recognition of member accomplishments. In my club, we have a section of the meeting that we call Toastmasters Moments, where we have members share how Toastmasters helped them during the week. And those would be great things to share on your Twitter profile, because this is showing guests and potential guests what Toastmasters can do for them. So a Toastmasters moment, somebody who gets recognition at work, maybe they get a raise or a new job, or they are assigned to a special committee, or they join the board of directors of something, or they decide to run for office, since we just got past that time of year. Anything that Toastmasters would have helped them in their regular life, that would be a great thing to tweet about. Now, you can also retweet from the District 3 account on any other day. I have always things on the account. I tweet about 8 times a day. I tweet a lot of motivational quotes. I tweet a lot of resources that the district has, and this year they're building resources like crazy. So we have things on how to understand pathways better, how to do a podcast. We have videos on YouTube. There's all kinds of things that you can share with your members that would be very useful for them. And again, it shows people that Toastmasters is going to be something that helps them in real life. So feel free to go to the District 3 account and steal. All right, hashtags. You probably have seen hashtags on other platforms that you've been on. A hashtag starts with a character that I recently learned is called the octothorpe. It's the number symbol, and I never knew it was called an octothorpe. That's something I learned this week from Twitter. So hashtags will help your search engines find your tweets, and it will also help people on Twitter find your tweets. And I'll show you how that works in a little bit. Popular hashtags for Toastmasters are things like hashtag public speaking, hashtag speaker, hashtag Toastmasters, hashtag personal growth. You can follow other Toastmasters clubs and see what they're using. Steal. The best thing I can tell you to do on Twitter is when you see someone doing something and getting a lot of engagement, you should start doing that same thing. If you're announcing a club event, I want you to hashtag D3TM, and I'll help you promote it by putting it on the D3 Twitter feed. And if you have members who tweet, create a club hashtag and ask them to use it. And then you can retweet their tweets as well. So hashtags are really great to use. You should use at least one hashtag in every tweet that you do. I have heard it said that 2 to 3 hashtags are optimal. I am agnostic on how many you should use. I personally like to use a lot of hashtags if I have some that are relevant. So use hashtags. All right, as I said, tweet at me using the hashtag D3TM. And I will retweet your club's news. I really want to help you guys build your Twitter accounts. I check that hashtag every day so that I can help promote you. And so far, I don't have anybody to promote. So I'm counting on you guys to start using this hashtag because I want to help you guys build up your clubs. All right, pictures and videos. Did I mention you can do videos? We're going to talk about that. The ideal picture size is 1200 by 675 pixels. So that's 1200 is the width from side to side and 675 is the height. So on Instagram, they want them square. On Twitter, they really want something that is more rectangular, sideways, the long way sideways. The maximum picture size is 5 megabytes, which again is a pretty large file size for something like a JPEG. So you should not have a lot of problems with that. You can upload a video that is as big as 512 megabytes, but here's something magical. You can do a live video up to 2 minutes and 20 seconds directly from the Twitter app using your phone. And vice presidents of PR should be doing that if you've got somebody in your club meeting who you know is a really great table topic speaker, that would be a great thing to put on your Twitter feed, is somebody answering a funny question who's going to do a great job of it. And you know they're probably coming in under 220. So that would be a fun way to show that our meetings are fun. Text-only tweets, this is weird, but on Twitter, a short text-only tweet will get slightly higher engagement than something with a picture or a video. I'm not sure why, but that's back to Sergeant Friday saying just the facts, ma'am. So don't feel like you have to add a picture. I personally like the pictures. I engage more with something with a picture. But there is some research that show you get slightly higher engagement with a text-only tweet, so don't be afraid to use those. All right, who you should follow on Twitter, because success on Twitter is really about building relationships, even though I didn't tell you that at the beginning. But you're not building relationships the way you do on Facebook, where you're building relationships with people you want to come to your club. You're building relationships by networking, maybe with other clubs or other districts, because they have resources that you can share and you can learn a lot by watching what they're doing. So who you should follow, you should definitely follow at Toastmasters. They post a lot of great stuff. They post links to articles in their magazine. So do I, because it's fantastic information. They post things about upcoming promotions, contests. You definitely want to follow them. You want to follow Toastmasters International PR. This has not been active in this Toastmasters year yet, but I'm hopeful they will rediscover it. They last year were posting great stuff. You of course want to follow District 3 Toastmasters, please. You want to follow any of your club members who are on Twitter. And if they're not on Twitter, you're learning tonight what you need to do in order to get them on Twitter. You want to follow other Toastmasters clubs and districts. And that is the section on how to tweet and what to tweet. So Karen, do we have any questions on that section?
Yes, we have a couple of questions. We had one in late, so just after you started this, but how do you tie your club Twitter to an owner and who can post to it?
Say that
Is the
again.
first one.
How do
It's
you do what?
How do you tie your club Twitter to an owner and who can post it? I think this is, who do you have set up the Twitter account and who has access to it on the club level?
Well, that's going to be a club decision. So you log into Twitter the same way that you would log in. Well, it's kind of interesting, actually. So your club would have a login and a password, and the club would decide who they wanted to give that login and password to. The most usual person that I would say would be the vice president of PR, but that person could have a committee and could share that login and password. So you could have more than one person working on it. One of the things when we get to another section, I'll show you that you can actually, like, I have 3 different Twitter accounts. I have the District 3 Twitter account. I have the @Writing Reader Twitter account, which is my business account. And then I have a personal account. And I can actually kind of link them and easily switch back and forth between them. Like if I see something and I want to retweet it, but I'm in the wrong account for retweeting that, then I can easily switch it, and I'll show you where that happens on the sidebar. But in terms of setting it up, I would pick somebody in your club who's excited about learning Twitter or doing Twitter, and I would give them that. And then, but the club just needs to decide who's going to run it and take care of it. And it might not be a bad idea to have the VP PR have several people on their committee to do that. So I hope that answered that question.
Thank you, Liz. We have Amanda asking, can you go back one slide? I think she was trying to get some information from the previous slide.
I figured out how to do that. Yay.
All right, so we have 2 more questions. One, I think you answered after it was asked, and was explaining hashtags. It was from Sandy. So I hope that you already, because she asked that before you explained it. And then we want some clarification for Donna on the tweet at me. Is this for District 3 or is it a tweet command? So you put tweet at me. Was that just explaining that they can tweet you at the D3_Toastmasters?
Yes. So so the way that you would do that is you would set up your tweet. So let's say you're setting up this tweet announcing that you're having an open house. Your club is having an open house. So what you're going to do is actually called tagging. So in that tweet, like maybe at the end of the tweet, you're just going to put at D3_Toastmasters. And that way you'll show up in my notifications. I will know that you have tweeted at me, and then I will share that as well. So that's how you do that. That's a great question, because I just assumed you would know how to do that. So just put my handle into your tweet. I hope that makes sense.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That is all the questions currently. I will pop in with more when we get them.
All right. So now we're going to talk about engagement on Twitter and becoming part of the conversation. And this is really what is going to help you be successful on Twitter, because Twitter is just like all the other social platforms in that they have what's called an algorithm, which decides what they're going to show to people that are looking at Twitter. And if you are just a sad, lonely little club with like only one person following it, nobody ever engages with your tweets, then Twitter is going to say, we're not going to show this to anybody. And it becomes really hard to get your tweets seen. So what you want to do in order to get into the algorithm where your tweets are being shown to more people is that you want to start engaging with people and conversing with people. So this is the notifications panel right here. I want to show you down the side. I don't know, Karen, can you see where I'm pointing with my cursor or not?
Absolutely, we can.
All right, so this menu here along the side is always there, no matter where you are on Twitter, and it's going to help you navigate. I want to go back to the previous question where I was talking about how you can switch back and forth between accounts, and that's down here. When I took this snapshot, I was logged in as D3 Toastmasters. But if I wanted to, I could click this downward arrow and it would show me what other accounts I have linked here. And just by choosing one of those accounts, I could instantaneously switch to the other account. I would stay on the same page that I'm on. Let's say that, well, I would see different notifications if I changed, but let's say that I was looking at somebody's tweet and I wanted to tweet that, but I wanted to tweet it from one of my other accounts. I could just choose that other account from this drop down, go there, tweet the tweet, then I could come back to D3 Toastmasters and resume what I was doing here. So right now we're on the notification page, and you want to spend some time here at least once a week, because this is where people are, it's showing you who engaged with your post. So when I did this, this account, this is the sign for retweeting. This account had also liked my post. This account had followed me. And so I want to look at all those things, and I want to engage with those people. So other accounts will get a notification if I engage with their tweets. So I definitely want to engage with their tweets, because then they will start to notice me and they will start to engage with my tweets. And then I get a notification back if they interact with my tweet. And I say here, check your notifications at least daily if possible, just in case somebody is saying, hey, I would really like to attend your meeting. How do I get hold of the Zoom link? That might be something that you get. It will not take you very long to check your notifications until you have thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, which most Toastmasters clubs are not going to get. You'll be able to check your notifications pretty quickly and see whether somebody has a question that really needs to be answered in a timely fashion. So in order to like a tweet, this is a tweet that I copied. At the bottom of the tweet, you would click this heart here to like the tweet. And if I want to retweet it, which would be to what we call on Facebook is sharing, but on Twitter we call it retweeting. We would click this, I don't even know what to call that. I called it a square here, the square with the arrows. You would click that, and you have an option when you retweet, whether you're just going to retweet this without saying anything about it, or if you're going to what they call quote retweeting, which is where you might make a comment on it as you're retweeting it. And just want to point out, I did choose this picture because see this hashtag here, Think Big Sunday with Marsha, is one of the most popular hashtags on Twitter. I kid you not, tens of thousands of people use this every Sunday to post motivational quotes, things about leadership, things about entrepreneurship. You will be amazed if you follow that hashtag, what you'll see. I might even recommend that you post something with that hashtag. Anybody can post something with that hashtag. And one of the things about hashtag, which I didn't mention before, but you might be able to tell by the fact that they're in blue here, is that they're clickable. So if I see a hashtag and I think, oh, I wonder how many people use that hashtag, I can click on it and it will take me to a page that shows me all the posts with that hashtags on it. And you will see thousands and thousands and thousands every Sunday for Think Big Sunday with Marsha. You will see thousands for quote, you will see thousands for motivation. So when you're looking around Twitter, it's a good idea to click on some hashtags. You know, you found a public speaking tip and it's got a hashtag on there that you hadn't thought about using, click on it and see whether that's a popular hashtag to use. So didn't mean to talk about that on this slide, but as long as we're here, let's just throw that in. So retweeting. So you can, as I said, you can retweet with or without adding a comment. But if you add, so if you retweet that just says, hey, I really liked this, but if you add a comment, you improve the chances of someone starting a conversation with you around that retweet. Always add a comment if you've got a good one. All right, the other thing that you can do is comment on somebody's tweet. Now, a retweet amplifies what they sent. So in addition to it reaching their audience, now it's also reaching your audience. And so people are really happy to get retweets. I love people that retweet me. A comment doesn't amplify that content, but it does start a conversation with someone. And it can be something as simple as, hey, I'd like to learn something. I'd like to ask you a question about that. Please tell me your favorite book about developing a passion, or, you know, ask a question about what they posted. And this will lead you into a discussion where you might make a friend with someone. All right, and then you can also share it. And that's this funny little like outbox thing here. And there are different options on the phone and web platforms for Twitter as to where you can share it. You cannot, for instance, directly share it to Facebook, which is, I don't know, weird to me. I think you should be able to do that. But I use this a lot of times to share it. I share it by email to someone that I know that I think would enjoy seeing that tweet. I frequently share something to my own email so that it reminds me later that I wanted to go and do some research on that, or I wanted to find an article about that or whatever. But sharing is a good thing. You can send it, I believe that you can send it by text is one of the options. See what I'm saying is the share is it. They're kind of strange options, but you might find that that's useful for you. I use it all the time. So any questions on that?
Yes, Liz, we have a couple of really good questions.
Awesome.
Amanda is asking, how do you follow a hashtag?
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to talk about lists and yeah, I wish that there were better options for following hashtags, but we are going to talk about lists. And yeah, so we're going to get into that. So I'd like to have her ask that if I don't answer it in the next section.
I will hold on to it then. So Jim has two questions for us. One is about the slide that you're currently showing.
Okay.
Under the gentleman's title, Jeff Sheehan, it has a little gray banner with the word unknown.
Oh, okay. So I have installed, see this little guy down here in the bottom right corner? I have installed a browser extension called Bot Sentinel. And this is largely because of how politicized and weird the social media space is right now. We have so many people on Twitter that are not people at all. They are foreign agents and bots, and they're not there to do anybody any good. So Bot Sentinel you will not see this on Twitter unless you have Bot Sentinel installed. But basically, this is just saying it hasn't analyzed Jeff Sheehan's account. So I can click down here and have it analyzed. I'm fairly sure that he would come up as a normal person. You can usually tell bots, there are ways to tell bots, but bots aren't really looking to disrupt Toastmasters clubs, so I wouldn't worry about it. I have Bot Sentinel installed for other reasons. So.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
Also, can you create a new hashtag, maybe one that no one has used before?
Absolutely. So, and that's what I was talking about. You can create a hashtag for your club, and don't expect that thousands of people are going to follow that, but your club members might look for that. And I would definitely recommend that you use the hashtag Toastmasters. Another favorite one for me is hashtag where leaders are made. Another one is hashtag public speaking tips. But you can definitely make one for your club that will help your members if they don't want to come to your profile to see what's going on. They could check for that hashtag. And Karen, you know a lot about hashtag marketing, and maybe you can tell me whether you feel like it's worth a club doing that or not.
It definitely can, because you can have a special hashtag that is used across social media to highlight the club. For example, let's take Maverick, like you have. You could have hashtag MAVTM, and it'd be something that members could post on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and it's a great way to see what is going on that and doing a search. If you do create one, I'm going to pop a website into the chat, which I adore. It's called Twubs. TWBS. You can register your hashtag, so you can actually claim ownership of it. It is a free service. They just catalog them, and they will tell you if somebody else is using that hashtag as well. If it's registered, that is. If it's not registered, it doesn't say, oh, well, this person is using it. It's, hey, they've registered it. They have an interest in it. And you can even get that as a verified hashtag for $9. So it's a certified, verified.
I'm learning something here. The cross-platform marketing is a great point. And remember what I said earlier is that hashtags are picked up by search engines. So that would be a great thing to also have on your webpage, right? I put them on my webpage. Karen?
I don't tend to put them on my website page because the Google bots don't it's called a spider crawl, and they don't always pick them up on HTML. They do pick up on searchable engines. There are plugins that you can use that with your hashtag allow you to create an auto tweet generation, like so and so visited my site. That you can go really deep on the web pages with hashtags.
Okay. Cool. I'm learning stuff.
We have another question. Do the hashtag text count towards the 280 limit? So they
yes, they certainly do. Of course they do. Yeah. Anything else?
That is all the current questions for now, but I will remind you of the one from Amanda when you get to that point.
Okay, well, we're going there now because we're going to talk about lists, and I love lists. So over here in your navigation panel, you'll see lists, and these are the lists that District 3 Toastmasters has set up, and I inherited these lists. It's a way to collect accounts to help you browse. So if I'm looking for things that I might want to retweet about leadership, I will click my leadership guru list, and I will see people that post a lot using leadership hashtags. That gives me well, look, people are going to follow you, and it is polite to follow them back. If, as long as they're not like webcam girls, you don't want to follow them back. But people will follow you that are like maybe accountants or something like that. And so if you go to this home button up here, you're going to see a feed of everyone that you followed. And so you'll start to see stuff in that feed that is not really useful to you, because you followed those people to be polite and to build up your following on Twitter. So the lists allow you to have a more tailored browsing experience. So I only want to see people posting about leadership. I'm going to click on the leadership gurus list. If I want to look at Toastmasters International and other global Toastmaster resources, I'm going to click on that list. If I want to see my local Toastmasters clubs, I'm going to click here. So it allows me to have a more organized browsing experience, and I can see what I want to see in a quicker way. So let's learn more about lists. So the leadership guru list, this is, if you click on that list, this will be the top of what you see. And you have this button here, edit the list. And when you do that, you'll see this. I can rename it if I want to. I might have renamed that one, I'm not sure. I can add a description if I want to. I'm able to make it private so that other people can't come and subscribe to my list. And then I can, of course, delete the list, or I can manage the members. So I want to, managing the members is what I want to do mostly. And so here's a list of the members that I have on this list. And let's say that Jim Kokaki, he's a past president of Toastmasters International. I probably don't want to remove him. He posts good stuff. But this Matthew Overland, maybe for the last month or so, he hasn't posted anything that's useful to me. I might want to remove him from this list. And I could do that very easily. And if I switch from members to suggested, it will show me people here that maybe I might want to follow. This guy here, Bobby Umar, I think after I saw this, I did follow him because he's a speaker. I actually clicked on his name here, which took me to his profile. I looked at his last 10 tweets and I said, yeah, I want to follow this guy. He's posting content that will be useful to me. This guy here is empowering teens and adults. He's got a success podcast. I think that I clicked through to his account and I didn't get real excited about following him, but Twitter is probably going to continue to show him to me. So this is a way that you can find members. So that's your first option for adding members to the list, is that Twitter will tell you, based on what you're posting, who they think you should follow. And some of the suggestions will be really good. All right. However, let's say that I'm out on the web and I say, oh, look, Showtime Toastmasters. They're not in any of my lists yet, and they're a District 3 club, and they do all kinds of really great stuff. So I really want to follow them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to these 3 dots. And when I click on it, a drop down will come down, and this is what it looks like. And I'm going to choose Add Remove from Lists. And then it will show me the lists, and I'm going to choose that Toastmasters local list that will put them into that list. And then whenever I browse that list, it's going to show me the Showtime Toastmasters tweets. And you can see here how they've done their profile. They've got, I think, a really good avatar. It's unique to them. The District 3 avatar is the Toastmasters logo, which a lot of the districts use. It doesn't really set you apart. They're doing something that sets them apart. I'm not super thrilled with their banner because I can't read this. This is, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. This is too small. I don't know if you guys can read this, but this is I've actually blown it up and I still can't read it. So I would definitely want to improve that part of it. And they've got plenty of room up here to make that text bigger. But this part is really fantastic. And they're using this graphic to market a lot of their workshop series. And so it is a callback. Every time you see that graphic, you know that's one of their Power Hour workshop series. They've got a great profile that they've made here. I'm having spastic fingers here. They're telling you who they are, what they are. They're an advanced club. What they do, they're a workshop for advanced evaluators and developing personal speakers. One thing they haven't done, if anybody here is in Showtime, notice that they haven't added a link. They should add a link, and they should have in this when and where they meet. That would be a great thing. They could add it to their graphic banner up top, or they could, if they have enough characters, they could add it here in the profile. All right, now we'll go to this slide that wants to be up. So how to use your list once it's set up. So this is my Toastmasters resources list, and someone, not me, added a description, media, podcasts, articles, and other sources of information and leadership. And when I click on that list, I start to see the feed of the people that are part of that list and what they've been posting. So this first one is from Mark Faithful, and he's talking about how to do a short talk. And then I can just scroll down and look at more things on that list. So that is a really easy way when I want to see this type of content. I just click on the name of the list and it will take me there. Now, to get back to Amanda's thing, you cannot, this hurts me. You cannot add a hashtag to the list, which I think would be so useful. And I send Twitter that recommendation about every month, and they have so far ignored me every month, which, you know, I'm used to it now. But eventually I hope that they'll make it a possibility that you can follow a hashtag, because it would be so useful. And I am, however, going to show you, when we get done with my slides, I'll show you how to follow a hashtag. So any questions on lists?
Okay, so we have a couple of questions. I think you answered this one a little bit after they posted it. Can the public see who I'm following and what my lists are?
Okay, so if I go back, by the way, some people do not want to be added to lists. I don't know why. I've never seen a Toastmasters club say that. But you have this option to make it private. When you do that, you're the only person who can see it. And so it's a little weird because some of the D3 lists are private and some of them are not. I haven't figured out why yet. And of course, I have the power to change that if I want to. This particular list is not private. So you can actually go to the D3 website and click on my lists, and you can follow the list. And what that will do, if you follow this leadership guru list, then that would add it to your list of lists. And let me see if I can go back here. So it would add to your list of lists here. And you are able, like, if for some reason you get, 35 lists, you're able to pin your 5 favorites that will show up here at the top. It will show this little avatar that you picked for your list, it'll show them across the top here so that you can go to them quickly. I just don't have enough lists on this account that I need to do that. So, but you can, the only ones I have locked are Toastmasters clubs and Toastmasters local. I don't know why they're locked. I will probably unlock those, but you can follow any of these lists if you feel like they might be useful to you. Any other questions?
A question about something that was shown on one of your slides. It said to turn off retweets. Does this prevent the public from retweeting the content, or is it the other way around?
So when you use that option, you have some choices. You can make it so that only people who are your friends can comment or retweet. You can make it so that nobody can comment or retweet. This is, they did this, I think, because of the elections. I believe that it was just so that people who wanted to make a statement and then not get hammered could do that. I don't see that it's that useful for Toastmasters clubs, but you can definitely, like, if you choose that option, if you click on that, it'll give you the options that you can choose. But if you're not going to get hammered by a bunch of crazy people who think that you're nuts for your political views, I just don't see the use for it personally. Anything else?
Yeah. Are there Twitter roles like Facebook? For example, admins, editors for the same account?
No, it's it's not that complicated on Twitter. You just log in, and whoever has the login can do pretty much anything that they want to do.
Okay, and we are caught up on questions right now, Liz.
Okay, so now is the time when I tell you that anything that I ever do, there's always one mistake in it. And this slide is it, because it still says lists, but it should say how to thread a tweet. And so before I send you these slides, I promise that I will fix that, because now we're going to learn how to thread a tweet. So let's talk about why you might want to thread a tweet. 280 characters is just not very much. It's just a terrible small amount of characters. And most of the time, you will find me swearing at Twitter for making it so small an amount. But threading is what gets you past this. So let's learn how to thread, because it might be that you want to learn how to, or you might want to put a meeting report, what happened in your meeting, and you could thread them together. And what that means is that all the tweets would show up in order and together, and it would show up as a thread. So if somebody out there saw one of them, at the bottom of it, it would say view thread, so they would know that there was more tweets that go with that. So let's learn how to do that, because it's really useful. So no, okay. Maybe I didn't make a mistake on that. Maybe I just went backwards instead of, okay. I'm gonna blame this on Amanda because she asked that really good hashtag. Oh, look, I didn't make a mistake. It says threaded tweets. I'm really proud of myself now. Awesome. All right, so we're gonna learn how to thread the tweets. So here I am, and I did not actually post this about Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. I just wanted to copy a piece of text that was long so that I could show you how to thread. Now, you paste in all this material, and you can see that everything that's highlighted in pink, this is what happens if you're in dark mode. I don't know what color it would be if you're in the regular white mode. In dark mode, it highlights it in this pretty pink, and that's telling you you have done too many characters. And at the bottom here, you can see it's actually 789 too many characters. So clearly I am not even going to be able to edit this down into 280 characters. That's just not going to happen. But miraculously, this button, which was not there before, has appeared. And that is the invitation to thread your tweet. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take everything that is highlighted and I'm going to cut it. And then I'm going to click this thread, this the plus sign to thread. And I will get another box. Now, whoops, it's hard to see this. I'm really sorry that it's hard to see this, but I pasted the material into the next box and you'll see still 538 characters, too much. So you continue doing this until you've completed the idea. A good thing to do when you're threading a tweet is that at the very front of your tweet, you type in all capital letters, thread, colon, and then you start your thread. And then you can see here, I've indicated that this is the first tweet of the thread. All right. When I've done all of these, you know, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to click that button, get the next box. I'm going to keep doing it until I have all the boxes, all of it filled into boxes where nothing is highlighted. Then I can click tweet all, and it will tweet all of those tweets at the same time, and they will all stick together. So best practices for threading, as I said, label like this and number your tweets. And then once it's posted, and I didn't post these because nobody wants to look at a post about Elizabeth Kubler-Ross on the District 3 Toastmasters website. I'm not sure why I had her up, but I just had this material that was easy to copy. So I didn't actually post this, but if I posted this, like I said, underneath it, it would say view thread here in blue. So that if somebody only saw like maybe the third tweet, they would recognize, oh, this is what people do when there's a thread. And if they were interested, they would click that view thread tweet, and then they would see all of the thread all together, which is what you want them to see. So, so that is the end of this. I am going to stop sharing and I'm going to go to a different screen. We
have a question.
All right. I'm going to try to answer Amanda's hashtag question too. But let me take this question first. What have you got?
Jim asks, is there a glossary of abbreviations that tweeters would understand? Like standardized abbreviations anywhere?
So are we talking about things like LOL that people use in texts and things like that?
I think he's talking about things like retweet, tweet, thread.
Oh, just a glossary.
Yes.
I am sure that there are websites that have those. I just don't know where they are. It's pretty easy to pick up Twitter. Well, it seems more complicated than it is. And I honestly can't believe that I've talked this long about it, because it's actually fairly easy. And I know you guys will get this very simply. How long have I talked? Oh yeah, 8:04. So I'm not sure to tell you where to find a glossary, but we are going to email you these slides, and it will have all of this stuff that I've talked about in there. And you can always send me a DM. That's a direct message on Twitter. I'm going to show you right down here This little box here is the messages. You want to send a new message. You click this envelope with the plus sign, and then you would type in at D3 Toastmasters, and then I pop up, and then next, and then you would type down here whatever you wanted to send to me. And if you do that, I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. So I hope that that answers that. I want to go back to Amanda's question about following hashtags. So Amanda, there's no way like lists that you can follow hashtags. I've already told you how that breaks my heart. But there are two things to know. And one is this Explorer here that's got the little octothorpe next to it. And the other is that you can always search on a hashtag. So what I do in this browser, when I open this browser, it automatically opens a page where I have searched for D3TM for that hashtag. So I'm going to see that page every single time that I open my browser. And this is my Chrome browser, which is not what I use for my main browser, but it's what I use for all my District 3 Twitter stuff. And so I don't know how comfortable you are with using multiple browsers, but I just have a bazillion tabs open on my other browser. So I wanted a more focused experience for this. So I installed a second browser. So that is one way you can do it, is just the search bar. But then there's also this Explore feature. So let's go there. And now they know the kind of thing that I normally look at as D3 Toastmasters. So in theory, they should be showing me information that relates to that. And so I haven't found, like, I don't know why they think I want to know anything about NCAA football. That's a trending. So they'll show you the trending stuff at the top. And so I did not find that useful. So my preference is to do searches. So you can see these are the last 5 or 6 searches that I did. I did a search on Showtime Toastmasters because I knew they had a Twitter account and I wanted to follow it. Steve Keating, for some reason, I searched on him. I'm not sure why. Can't remember anymore. I'm old. My brain just doesn't maintain that. I searched on hashtag leadership, hashtag public speaking tip. And then I searched on my other account because I had a list over there that I wanted to follow. And so it's always going to show you 5 or 6. So if you do what I do and have a browser just dedicated to that, you're probably only going to follow 5 or 6 hashtags, and they will show up here. That's not, I wish I had a better answer to give you. I just really don't. Another thing that you can see over here is, for some reason, they think that I should follow Bank of America. I'm not sure why. I really don't want to. But here, look, here's a Toastmasters Club. I want to show you that when I hovered over that with my mouse, it shows me the profile. And look, they have a great profile because I know that they're in Sugarland. I don't actually know where that is, but their audience will. I know that they meet on the 2nd and 4th Monday at 7:15. I know that if I want to attend their Zoom meeting, I've got to RSVP. And I'll bet that if I go there, there is their website, and I will guess that they are going to have a way to RSVP there. And then they don't have a pinned tweet. I would recommend that they have a pinned tweet, but this is a really good tweet because they're saying join us at 7:15. We know what their topic is, which is kind of cool. Oh, here we go. Here's how you get their Zoom link. They're inviting me to the meeting. They've got a nice graphic for Stress Awareness Day. You know, this is a good club to follow. So I'm going to follow them by clicking follow. And then now I want to add them to a list. So like I said, I'm going to click on those 3 buttons. I'm going to add to a list, and I'm going to add to the Toastmasters Club list. When I did that, the check mark came up and I clicked save. So that's really fast and easy. So you always want to look over here to the right side of the screen, because usually they give you some pretty good ideas of who you might want to follow. Let's go over here. As I said, the home button is your feed. So everybody that you follow is going to be in this feed. And here's my personal account. What's your favorite pie? Rhubarb. Now you all know my favorite pie. And then mixed into my feed, here are some more Toastmasters clubs that I might want to follow. Just scrolling back up, District 73 Toastmasters. I don't know who runs this account, but they're really good. They post a lot of really useful graphics. I highly recommend that you steal from them. Just give them credit if you steal from them. Let me see if I go to my profile. When I steal from them here, I do retweet at D73TM. Now you don't have to do that if you retweet directly from their account. That will already be noted. But because I set this up in advance on Hootsuite, it's not going to show that I got it from them, but I always want to give them credit. So I do that by saying that I'm retweeting them. All right. Messages will take me to those direct messages that we talked about. I don't use bookmarks, but that is something that you can play with if you have a tweet that you want to go back to later. Let's pick something. I don't care anything about Hugh Grant, but no. Okay. I thought I could bookmark from here. Well, like I said, I don't ever use that feature, so I am not sure how you use that feature. Lists we've talked about. Profile. To me, this is one of the confusing things. This is your profile, which I always think of as my home base, but it's not. It's the profile, and the home is the feed of all the people that you follow. And then there's this nice little more button where you can look at things like your analytics to see how many people are looking at your tweets who aren't interacting maybe, and your settings and privacy, etc. And this big blue button is how you start a tweet. So there you go. Any questions now that we're on the live site? Any questions, Karen?
We have a clarification for Jim about the question about abbreviations. He's thinking for normal text to save space. So a standard abbreviation form.
I don't know. I use things like B/C for because, or W/O for without. Is that the kind of thing that he's talking about?
From that question, I would say yes, but I know there isn't exactly a standardized one. There are a lot of normal, and Terosa recommended Urban Dictionary Online might help. So
okay. All right. Hi, Theodosia. It might, what I would say is, like, I think that most people, if they, in context, if they see something like B/C, they're going to figure out that it means because, and they'll do that because it's in the context that it's in. I would be really careful about using abbreviations unless you're absolutely sure that people are going to get it from the context, because I don't think there are a lot of really standard ones other than ones that we would use in standard writing anyway. So, you know, apartment would be APT in America. I don't know in Australia, Jim, what yours would be. That would be standard. APPT is appointment. Those kind of things are just kind of normal, but they're not specific to Twitter. So anything else?
Okay. I was going to say, Virginia said, this is so useful. Thank you for this. Amanda says, thank you. Jim, we live in houses here. So the appointment. So I think everyone is seeing how fantastic this was, which I could not agree more with. And I think this, so much information. Jim says, thanks, great content. Michael says, thanks. I think you created some aha moments tonight.
Awesome. Listen, I really want you guys to know that it is super, super easy to use Twitter. It seems overwhelming right now if you haven't done it, but once you get doing it, you'll say, oh my gosh, this is so easy. And like I said, the biggest tip that I can give you is to learn from other people. So just spend some time looking at what people are doing who know what they're doing. And I did literally increase my followers from 5 to 10,000 in a month just from doing that and from engaging. Engagement is the secret sauce. You've got to talk to people, you've got to follow other people, you have to retweet, you have to ask questions, you do all of those things and become part of the conversation, and you will build a following. But encourage your members to get on. It's not really a great tool if your members aren't on there, because if your members are engaging with your tweets and they're retweeting them and they're also amplifying what you're saying, that will help the Twitter algorithm give more weight to what you're posting. So I would highly recommend that you take these slides and teach a little section of them to your entire club and get them all on Twitter. And listen, there are sections of Twitter that can be a cesspool, but maybe now the election is over, maybe not so much. But in the Toastmasters world, if you're following things like the hashtag for motivation, or Think Big Sunday with Marsha, if you're following those kind of hashtags and you're following other Toastmasters clubs, you're not going to see that other ugly stuff. And it can be really beneficial and encouraging and fun to use. And it honestly is super easy. And I see Virginia says she's been on it for over 10 years, but never really used it. Yeah. So, and there are a lot of people on Twitter that do the same thing because they never really figure it out. But if you'll just remember my friend Sergeant Friday and just the facts, ma'am, you'll be on your way.
You have thanks from Rick Snyder. He learned a lot. Marcy says thank you. Virginia says thank you. DJ says she may even think about doing a tweet.
I think that would be great, DJ, because you're in a great club and they would highly benefit from having you tweet.
Sandy says thank you. This was so helpful. Donna says thank you from Texas.
Yay!
So you've inspired me. I have been on Twitter probably about 10 years and I haven't really used it. So guess who's hitting her Twitter accounts tonight?
Awesome.
So fantastic. Thank you so much, Liz. This was phenomenal. You did an amazing job.
Thank you for inviting me. I had a lot of fun. I could talk about Twitter all day.
Hey, we learned a lot from you. Again, I'm hoping you're enjoying this social media series. Next week is LinkedIn. Go to aztoastmasters.org, click on events, and you'll be able to see that LinkedIn Go ahead, sign up. We would love to have you there. Then we're taking a break for a week because it's Thanksgiving here in the States. And we will be back the week after with How to YouTube with past international director Don Griffiths. So there is so much going on. We're so excited that you're joining us on our Wednesday night or whatever time it is for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please keep getting value from this. We're here to help.